Research methods in wargaming. Literature reviews. Okay, this is starting basically the meat and potatoes of the class. This is week 2. Last week you selected a research topic for our ultimate project, which is your Homeland Security issue analysis. As I said in my email, this is a scaffolded paper. I'm going to show you how to write this step by step. So after figuring out what you want to write about, you need to make sure that you're fully informed on a topic. Now, that's not to say you might not be, presumed to be an expert in your topic by those in your field, but it always helps to go ahead and give a thorough literature review. You have to remember the people in your office, the people in your branch, the people at your college might not know you. They might not know your expertise. They might not know what you've done. And it's also important to show them that you have a firm basis in the topic, which is why we do a literature review. Okay. Um, what a literature review is, it's a collection of established works about a specific topic that have already been published. What do all of the experts say? And it's important not only to have ample uh, literature, but also to have diverse literature, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Understand that literature reviews are not theses. It's not a thesis. You do not take a particular position in answering a research question. Well, that comes later. You do get to do that, and that's important because this is your paper. It's your analysis. Right now, though, all we are concerned about is making your project, your paper, the most informed it can be. So again, just remember, uh, you know, don't talk about your personal experiences. Don't talk about your anecdotes. And this becomes a major issue because a lot of people get offended because I've dealt with people who have worked with sensitive and top secret information, and they're talking about the FISA court, and this person has been involved in that, and they sit here and they start going off on these little sea stories about, well, I know for a fact that this happened and this isn't happening and this should be happening. Whoa, we're not there yet. I had one person, in their lit review, it was full of nothing more than what they had heard from somebody. Excuse my language, but third latrine from the third head from the left, about how corrupt it was and how unfair it was. I'm not interested in that unless you can find me a source, a reliable source where somebody says that you can cite. You can find me someplace where that's written. I don't want to hear about that. And neither do the people reading your paper. Uh, I personally have made this mistake when I was working on my PhD, and essentially it was basically just handed back to me and said, "Okay, that's nice. That's a great story. Now you have to do a lit review." Um, Researchers use lit reviews as background and a foundation. It lends more credibility to your work. If you don't have a lit review and you don't have sources, then it's not a analysis paper, it's an op-ed. And we don't write op-eds because we're not the Washington Post. It illustrates an understanding of the topic by the researcher and writer to the reader and the audience. Um, so, uh, how does a researcher write a literature review? Well, the first step in conducting resources, of course, is find sources, read them, and examine the background of the authors. And you've got to be careful here. Uh, with that said, you also want to solicit information from diverse sources. If and cyber is a popular topic in this class, and that's great. It's that's the next generation of warfare. You don't only want to talk to folks in the military, but you want to talk to folks at Homeland Security, the civilians. You want to talk to tech guys. You want to talk to policy people about privacy, etc. You want to get basically a 360 snapshot of the topic in this lit review. That's what a diverse That's what diverse sources means. Think of this lit review in terms of foundation for a house. If you have too many folks from headquarters Marine Corps or Army Cyber Command, you might have a really firm wall over on one side of the house. But then you haven't talked to anybody who are subject matter experts outside of the military, and that part, if you look at this picture, could represent the middle, where it's kind of weak. Um, Broadly speaking, you want to make sure you solicit, again, military sources, law enforcement, criminal justice sources, academic sources, policymakers, advocacy groups, anybody who is considered credible. Um, while not every analysis will have relevant sources in these groups, be as well-rounded as you can. For the purpose of this lit review, use no less than 7 sources and includes diverse sources. And please make sure that they are reputable. Don't go to, some guy who's allegedly a tech fella, with some screen handle or screen name at, grandma's basement blog. That's not reliable. You want actual valid sources, and you also have to watch for bias. And I think we're all familiar with what a bias source looks like. If you have questions about that, or you have questions about a source, let me know. This literature review should be no less than 750 words. That's approximately 3 pages. And divide your research up by theme, not by source. A lot of literature reviews are essentially read an article, you summarize it, they give what they think, and then they go to the next one. They read the article, and then they summarize it, and then they tell me what they think. That's not what you want. You need to compare and contrast what differing sources think about certain parts of a topic. Keep in mind that this will serve as a standalone section of your paper. Write it as if it's the final chapter of larger work. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to contact me.